black cleaning lady hid for 8 years that she was the CEO of the company
Oh,
until she was forced to return to her own business. For 8 years, Swaley, a quiet, black woman with calloused hands and watchful eyes, mopped the marble floors of one of the largest corporations in the country. To most, she was just another cleaning lady. No one paid attention. No one asked questions. What they didn't know was that Swaley was, in fact, the original founder and former CEO of the company. Years earlier, she had been forced out in silence by a corrupt board of directors, betrayed by people she once mentored. Broken and disillusioned, she didn't fight back in court. Instead, she disappeared from the spotlight, but not from the building. She returned undercover, cleaning the very hallway she once ruled under a different name, watching everything, and everyone. She saw her vision being dismantled, workers exploited, and soulless decisions draining the heart from what she had built. But then crisis struck. A scandal, financial collapse. And the board, desperate, finally uncovered the truth. They came to her, begging her to come back and save what she once created. Now, standing before the same people who erased her, Swaley must choose. Will she return to rebuild what was taken from her? Or will she let it all fall and simply clean up what remains? Asterisk, asterisk, The Invisible Legacy, Chapter 1. The Cloak of Invisibility and the Echo of Lost Power, the corporate skyscraper's hallways. Monument of glass and steel, dominating the city's financial center, were a stage of ambition and indifference. For 8 years, Swaley, a soft-spoken black woman with a discreetly keen eye, was an almost phantom figure in that setting. In her impeccable, unmarked cleaning uniform, she cleaned the gleaming offices, polished hallways, and meeting rooms where multi-million-dollar decisions were made. To the elite surrounding her, men and women in expensive suits and hurried glances, Swaley was just another cleaning lady among many, an invisible cog in the vast corporate machine. Someone to be ignored, a shadow to pass unnoticed. What none of those tie-wearing faces knew was that Swaley had once occupied the pinnacle of that very tower. That cleaning lady was, in fact, the true founder and first CEO of the company. One day, it was her vision that transformed a small dream into an industry giant. Her brilliant mind and heart driven by a purpose beyond pure profit. She had built the company brick by brick, believing in the human value of every employee, from intern to director. That legacy was now her daily torment, a masterpiece disfigured before her eyes. Years earlier, Swaley had been unjustly removed from her position. A silent coup, orchestrated by the very board of directors she helped form, deposed her amidst fabricated accusations of mismanagement and lack of vision for the future. Deeply shaken by the betrayal of people she considered family and had helped to train, Swaley chose not to fight in court. Her wound was more than legal. It was personal, moral. She chose to disappear from public life, immersing herself in an anonymity that, to the outside world, signified her defeat. But for Swaley, it was not an end. It was a choice with a silent purpose. She returned to the very corridors of her own company as a cleaner, under a discreet name, to observe everything. And everyone. It was the revenge of a wounded soul, self-imposed penance that kept her close to her disfigured legacy. Chapter 2. The mirror of betrayal and the disfigured legacy. 8 years dragged on. And Swaley, the invisible CEO, witnessed the slow and painful disfigurement of her legacy. In the corridors she had designed, in the meeting rooms where her ideas once flourished, she saw the brilliance she had planted fade. Humble employees, whom she had always protected and valued, were now exploited. Their wages cut, their rights ignored in the name of ever-increasing profit margins. The soulless decisions of the board, which prioritized capital over humanity, slowly sank what she had once built with so much purpose and passion. The air in the company, once vibrant with innovation and collaboration, now smelled of coldness and bureaucracy. Swaley observed in silence. She saw the hypocrisy in the smiles of the directors who had betrayed her, the superficiality of their strategies, the greed that blinded them. She saw them eating in expensive restaurants, closing selfish deals, while she cleaned up the trash they left behind. The pain of betrayal was constant, a daily reminder of her fall. But the pain of her vision's distortion, of the suffering of employees who once called her an inspiring leader, was even greater. Her heart, once full of dreams, was now heavy with the weight of regret and sorrow, a burden she carried alone, under her cloak of invisibility. During this period of observation, Swaley also saw the seeds of the company's own ruin. The board's greed, the lack of ethics, the arrogance in ignoring market trends, the lack of strategic vision were driving the company into an abyss. Financial reports were doctored, problems were swept under the rug, and employee loyalty withered away. Swaley, who knew every gear of that machine, knew that a crisis was imminent. She saw the signs, the small cracks in the empire's facade, but remained silent. Her choice to observe rather than intervene, a self-imposed penance, and a testament to her profound disappointment. The stage was set for the giant's fall, and she, the invisible cleaning lady, would be the only one to witness its collapse. Chapter 3. The Abyss's Cry and the Face on the Sidewalk. The crisis Swaley had foreseen arrived with the force of a hurricane. The company's stock plummeted, investors panicked, and major contracts were canceled. The empire she had built with so much sacrifice was on the verge of bankruptcy, its facade of success shattered. Chaos engulfed the hallways, and the once arrogant executives now scurried like startled cockroaches, desperate to find a solution, a culprit, a way out of the abyss opening beneath their feet. The smell of fear and despair replaced ambition in the air. The board of directors, in their desperate search for a miraculous solution, began a thorough internal audit, sifting through every file, every transaction, every clue of past failures. It was in this process that one of the auditors, reviewing old foundation documents of the company, found a name he'd never expected to see Swaley, and next to the name, documents revealing her true identity, the founder, the first CEO. The brilliant mind who had been unjustly deposed? The shock was indescribable. The secret kept for 8 years was exposed. The cleaning lady was the woman they had betrayed, and who now, ironically, might be the only salvation for the company they were sinking, desperate. The directors, the same faces who had humiliated her and once expelled her, went after Swaley, not in the boardroom, but on the cold sidewalk of the periphery, where she lived, in her discreet and humble life. The contrast was brutal. Men in impeccable suits before a simple woman without makeup or jewelry. They pleaded, their voices choked with desperation, for her to reassume control of the company. Swaley, with her serene gaze and dignified posture, faced them. She saw the fear in their eyes, the arrogance transformed into supplication. The question hung in the air like a silent cry. Would she return? Or would she let them sink? And once again, clean up what remained of the company that was once her legacy? The cleaning lady is the CEO. Swaley's secret has exploded, and the company is collapsing. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next chapters of this thrilling saga of redemption, justice, and the power of truth. Hit like if you're also shocked by Swaley's story and want to see the turnaround happen. Share this video so more people can dive into this powerful tale of betrayal, corporate secrets, and the search for a legacy. Comment below. What do you think Swaley will decide? Will she return to the company or let them sink? Chapter 4. The Revolution on the Office Floor and the Start of the Internal. Battle Sully's true identity being revealed shocked the board of directors. The woman they had unjustly fired, who for 8 years cleaned their offices, was the only one who could save them from the abyss. Desperate, they pleaded for her to reassume control. Swaley faced them with a dignified calm, her eyes reflecting not vengeance, but a deep sadness for what they had done to her legacy. The scene, unthinkable for corporate culture, was the first sign that a revolution would begin, not at the top, but on the company's ground floor. Swaley accepted, but on her own terms. She wouldn't immediately return to a top-floor office. She demanded the first meeting be held in the cleaning staff's cafeteria, with all janitors and cleaners present. there, in front of the same faces who had seen her as invisible. She delivered her first speech as CEO. Her words weren't about profits or restructuring, but about dignity, respect, and purpose. She asked forgiveness from the humble employees for allowing her legacy to be disfigured, and promised that, under her leadership, the company would once again be a place where everyone was valued. Her promise, coming from a cleaning lady who revealed herself to be the CEO, inspired hope where there had only been disillusionment. Swaley's return wasn't welcomed by everyone. The directors who had betrayed her, though cornered by the crisis, felt the humiliation of being led by someone they considered inferior. They tried to undermine her authority, spreading rumors about her instability and outdated vision. Dr. Eduardo Campos, the former head of communications who once tried to bring down Clara from another script, If the Connection is Active, now saw Swaley as an even greater threat, a symbol of the meritocracy he feared. Swaley's battle was not only to save the company, but to re-educate an elite, blinded by prejudice and arrogance. Chapter 5. The hands that heal and the ghosts of the past. Swaley plunged headfirst into the task of rebuilding the company, but in a completely new way. She fired the corrupt directors, implemented transparency policies, and, most importantly, began listening to employees at all levels. She went to the factory floor, talked to the workers, visited the cleaning teams, learning about their pains and needs. She discovered that the board's soulless decisions had caused deep damage, indebted families, wasted talents, and broken dreams. The pain she witnessed was a reflection of what she herself had felt. Amidst this reconstruction, Swaley was confronted by ghosts from her past. She re-encountered Maria, the nun who delivered food in the early mornings, and Lionel, the boy who lost his parents from another script, If the Connection is Active, who now lived in a community her company had, years earlier, tried to evict for an expansion project. Swaley felt the weight of guilt, not just for her absence, but for the actions of the company she had founded. She asked for forgiveness from Maria and Lionel, not with arrogance, but with the humility of someone seeking to make amends. Maria, with her wisdom, invited her to experience their reality firsthand. Swaley began spending early mornings, accompanying Maria on food distribution rounds to the homeless. She saw dignity in misery, resilience amidst adversity. She felt the cold, the hunger, and the invisibility she herself had chosen for years. This immersion into the world of the forgotten healed her own wounds but also spurred her to act. The company she led would no longer be about profits, but about purpose. She promised Maria that the company would invest in social projects in that community, reversing the damage and building a legacy of inclusion. Chapter 6. The Company's Heart. And the silent revolution. Swaley's transformation was reflected throughout the entire company. The meeting rooms, once stages for intrigue, were now centers for debate on social justice and corporate responsibility. She introduced vocational training programs for low-income employees, daycare centers for employees, children, and comprehensive health plans. The company, which had been on the brink of bankruptcy due to its lack of humanity, began to recover, not just financially, but morally, proving that purpose can be the greatest driver of profit. However, Swaley's silent revolution was not well received by everyone. Dr. Eduardo Campos, the executive fired by Ricardo Lacerda and who had tried to bring down Clara, now saw Swaley as his last chance for revenge. He tried to organize an investor boycott, spreading rumors that Swaley was using company resources for excessive charity and that her leadership style was too sentimental. He wanted to prove that Swaley was weak, that her empathy would lead her to failure, but Swaley was not intimidated. At a public event surrounded by her employees, the community that embraced her, figures like Maria and Lionel, she delivered an emotional speech. She spoke about the importance of leading with heart. It's about company social responsibility and about how true wealth is human dignity. She announced a partnership with the Alzira Montero Foundation, Paths to Dignity If the Connection is maintained to create education and housing programs for young Black and impoverished individuals, a way to ensure other talents wouldn't be silenced. Swaley's voice, full of truth and authenticity, was stronger than any slander. Eduardo Campos was finally silenced by the force of truth. The company she once built with purpose, and which was almost destroyed by greed, was back and stronger than ever, with the cleaning lady in charge, proving that talent doesn't choose a title. The cleaning lady is the CEO. Swaley is transforming a failing company with love and dignity. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next chapters of this inspiring saga of justice, leadership, and the search for an unbreakable legacy. If you also believe that purpose can be the greatest driver of success, even in the face of attacks, share this video so more people can dive into this powerful tale of corporate transformation and redemption. Comment below. What do you think of Swaley's leadership? Do you believe humanity can truly prevail over greed in the business world? The Invisible Legacy Chapter 7, The Soul's Answer and the Judgment of Truthfully's Transformation and the Company's Restructuring echoed through the corridors of power, generating admiration and, for some, even deeper envy. The media celebrated her as the CEO who saved a company with humanity, but Swaley knew the real battle was internal, against the ghosts of the past and society's judgments. She wasn't seeking applause, but the peace of her soul. It was during this period of intense exposure that a former enemy of Swaley and the company, a major businessman she had outmaneuvered in past negotiations, Dr. Ricardo Azevedo, main character of The Secret of the Last Chance script, reappeared. Ricardo Azevedo, known for his ruthless coldness and his relentless pursuit of control, saw the new Swaley as a weakness. He orchestrated a plan to expose an old flaw in the company's security system, created years earlier by the board that deposed Swaley, hoping the scandal would bring her down and prove that humanity and success were incompatible. Ricardo Azevedo's plan unfolded in a massive confidential data was leaked, and the company's reputation was, once again, at risk. The press, always eager for a scandal, began questioning Swaley's competence. Ricardo Azevedo, in interviews, mocked the cleaning lady CEO and her naivete. Swaley felt the weight of the threat. The temptation to use her knowledge of the corporate underworld to retaliate against Ricardo Azevedo was immense. But she looked at the faces of Maria Leonel, Donna Need, the people who had taught her about dignity, and knew the fight would not be waged on the battlefield of revenge, but of truth and justice. Chapter 8. Light in the Storm and the Resilience of Purpose. Amidst the cyberatic Swaley's determination shone. She summoned all employees from the board to the cleaning staff to an emergency meeting. There was no panic in her voice, only an impressive calm. She explained the truth about the security flaw, revealing it had been a mistake by the former board, not hers. Then, with a sincerity that disarmed everyone, she confessed that she had known about this flaw for years, ever since she was invisible as a cleaning lady, but that the board's betrayal had left her without the strength to act. Now she would fight to protect her legacy and her new family. The company united like never before. Employees at all levels worked day and night to contain the attack. The former cleaning staff, whom Swaley had valued, showed unwavering loyalty. Revealing details about Ricardo Azevedo's past access to privileged information, the community, led by Maria and Leonel, organized a support campaign on social media, defending Swaley and the foundation, proving that truth was stronger than any lie. The attack was contained. Ricardo Azevedo, stripped of his weapons, was unmasked, and his own reputation as a mastermind of evil was ruined. Swaley's company not only survived the crisis but emerged stronger, with its public image solidified as a model of ethics and responsibility. The price of legacy, Swaley realized, was not just success, but the courage to be vulnerable and to fight for truth, even when the odds are against you. Chapter 9. The Seed of the Future and the Voice of Millions. The victory over Ricardo Azevedo was not the end of Swaley's journey, but the beginning of a new and ambitious chapter. The Clara Foundation, Invisible Voices, which she had created, expanded its horizons. Swaley didn't just fund projects, she co-created them with communities, ensuring that the solutions were truly transformative. She invested in digital education, programs for young Black and impoverished people, ensuring their talent would no longer be silenced. Leonel, the boy who lived by collecting cardboard, became one of the program's first ambassadors, his story inspiring thousands. Swaley's voice, once a discreet whisper, was now a clamor for justice and dignity. She became a sought-after speaker, sharing her story worldwide. She didn't talk about business, but about the importance of seeing the value in every human being, breaking down barriers of prejudice, and of building a society where talent doesn't choose position, race, or social class. Her iconic phrase, "Talent doesn't choose a title," echoed in every one of her speeches, transforming her into a global symbol of hope. The company, now led by Swaley with a new vision, became a model of inclusion and social innovation. Employees, inspired by their CEO's story, were more productive and engaged than ever. The former board, which had deposed her, was replaced by leaders who shared her vision of a business with purpose. Swaley, the cleaning lady who became CEO, proved that true leadership wasn't about power, but about humanity, and that the greatest wealth wasn't billions, but the impact she generated in the lives of millions. Chapter 10. The Legacy of the Unexpected. Genius and the Echoing Question, the Clara Foundation, Invisible Voices. Created with Ricardo Lacerda's CEO from another script. Maintaining the connection, unconditional support, became a beacon of hope. Money, once a symbol of power and exclusion, was now an instrument of transformation. Swaley's mentorship program grew exponentially, revealing brilliant talents in marginalized communities who otherwise would never have been seen. Joe the boy Clara, found drawing on the ground, flourished under her tutelage, becoming a promising young artist, his art a testament to the power of hope and second chances. Swaley's story went viral worldwide. She became an icon, inspiring millions of women and young people not to give up on their dreams, to fight against prejudice, and to seek dignity in every step. Ricardo Lacerda's company, once synonymous with arrogance, was now a model of diversity and inclusion, its transformation, an example for the corporate world. Ricardo and Swaley, the CEO and the cleaning lady, the man and the woman once separated by prejudice, were now inseparable partners in a larger mission, proving that talent doesn't choose race, gender, or position. In the end, Swaley's story of her unexpected rise and global impact forced the world to a final question that echoed in every mind. How many Claras does the world still ignore? How many brilliant talents are hidden under cloaks of invisibility, waiting for a chance, for a glance, for someone to believe in them? Swaley's story wasn't just a tragedy transformed into a miracle. It was a call to action, an invitation for each of us to look beyond appearances and seek the true richness that exists in every human being. Cleaning lady, Swaley faced a cyberattack and proved that humanity is stronger than greed. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next chapters of this inspiring saga of justice, leadership, and a legacy that transforms lives. Hit like if you also believe that purpose can be the greatest driver of success, even in the face of attacks. Share this video so more people can dive into this powerful tale of corporate transformation and redemption. Comment below. What did you think of Swaley's response to Ricardo Azevedo's attack? Who are the Claras in your life that deserve to be seen? Chapter 11. The new wealth and the legacy that blossoms with the company rebuilt and her identity publicly solidified. The Clara Foundation, Invisible Voices, led by Swaley and with Ricardo Lacerda's unconditional support, flourished, becoming a beacon of hope and a model of social transformation. Swaley, who had shed her old life to save her legacy, discovered a new wealth, that of seeing real impact in lives that would otherwise be invisible. Money, once a symbol of power and exclusion, was now an instrument of transformation. Swaley dedicated every ounce of her energy to the foundation, working side by side with Donna Alina, the executive director of the foundation, from previous scripts who brought the perspective of the communities. The foundation was not merely a mentorship program. It was a grassroots movement powered by volunteers from the community itself and by Swaley's former students who are now successful professionals. She traveled across the country, seeking out stories, offering opportunities, and building bridges, where there had once been walls of prejudice and hopelessness. Jobo. The boy Clara found drawing on the ground the same Joe who was mentored by Clara in the Unexpected Genius script. Flourished under Swaley's and other Foundation leaders' mentorship. He became a renowned young artist, his works a testament to the power of second chances. His art, depicting the beauty and resilience of these communities, was exhibited in international galleries. And he used his platform to champion the Foundation's cause. The legacy of Swaley, planted with pain, bloomed into thousands of new dreams. Chapter 12. The Voice of the Invisible and the Reunion with Forgiveness. The Clara Foundation Invisible Voices grew exponentially, expanding its operations across Brazil and beyond its borders. Swaley, with her intelligence and newfound voice, became a global leader, speaking at international forums, inspiring youth, and challenging governments and corporations to rethink their practices. She spoke about the importance of racial equity, inclusion, and recognizing talent everywhere, regardless of skin color or social class. In the process, Swaley dedicated part of her time to reconnect with the victims of the company's former management, and, when possible, the victims of other companies involved in corruption if the connection with other scripts is maintained. She sought out the parents of Lara, the young woman whose startup project was stolen, and Mariana's family, the woman who suffered abandonment if the connection is active. Swaley, with humility, offered not just financial support from the Foundation, but her listening ear and her empathy. She witnessed pain, anger, but also the surprising capacity for forgiveness. David, the young engineer whose project was destroyed, and Mariana herself became partners with the Foundation, using their experiences to guide others. The most touching reunion was with Philippe, the former aggressor from the Honor Where Least Expected script. He, having been abandoned by his own family, was now working in a community garden, seeking his own redemption. Swaley visited him. There were no words of accusation, just a look of understanding. Philippe, tears in his eyes, thanked Swaley for being the mirror that made him see his mistakes. The Foundation offered him an opportunity to rebuild himself, to use his skills for good. Forgiveness, Swaley realized, wasn't about forgetting, but transforming pain into a new path. A legacy of compassion that conquered hatred. Chapter 13. The Tribunal of the Soul and the final reconning Zuli's story and the downfall of her company's former management and, by extension, that of Ricardo Dantas, if the connection between scripts is maintained, brought forth the need for a final reckoning with the past. Ricardo Lacerda, the CEO who had redeemed himself, supported Swaley in an unprecedented initiative, the creation of a Tribunal of Honor, a public and transparent forum led by the Clara Foundation, Invisible Voices. Its goal was to give a voice to all victims of corporate and racial injustices who, for years, had been silenced. It wasn't a legal court, but a moral one, where stories were heard, truth was celebrated. In this symbolic tribunal, Jonas, the wise homeless man whose talent was stolen by Dantas Tech, and who was now a Foundation advisor, finally told his complete story to the world. He revealed the details of the crime, the manipulation, the pain of being silenced, and the freedom he found on the streets. Beside him, Lionel, the boy who collected cardboard and was now a young community leader, testified to the resilience of the invisible ones and the strength of the new era of justice. The stories, however painful, were a balm, a cry of liberation. Swaley's mother, who had supported her through the toughest times, and Sensei Kenji, if the connection with previous scripts is active, who had taught Rebecca about honor, watched. With pride, Swaley's family, once marked by loss and prejudice, was now a symbol of strength and redemption. The Tribunal of the Soul, where the power of money had no voice, revealed that honor, compassion, and truth were the greatest currencies. Swaley, the woman who was once invisible, was now the judge of dignity, and her voice, a beacon of justice for millions. Chapter 14. The Legacy Beyond Fortune and the Eternal Question Years Past. Swaley, now a mature woman with wisdom in her eyes, continued to lead the Clara Foundation Invisible Voices, her story from a life of struggles to global leadership inspired generations. Ricardo Lacerda, now elderly, but with his soul at peace, remained by her side. Her mentor and most loyal friend, an example that redemption is possible for all. The foundation became a global movement, transforming lives and inspiring social justice. Orphanages, support centers, educational programs, everything flourished, giving voice to the invisible ones and ensuring no talent was silenced again. Joe, the boy artist, became one of the most renowned artists of his generation, using his art to denounce injustices, and David, the engineer, led social technology projects that benefited entire communities. The story ends with Swaley, now elderly, sitting on a park bench, observing the city. The bustling sounds around her, the hurried people, imposing skyscrapers. Everything was different, yet at the same time, the same. She smiled, her gaze distant but filled with a deep peace. The question that once echoed in her soul still hangs in the air. A reflection for all of us. How many Claras does the world still ignore? How many brilliant talents are hidden under cloaks of invisibility, waiting for a chance, for a glance, for someone to believe in them? Her story is not an end, but a beginning, an invitation for each of us to look beyond appearances and seek the true richness that exists in every human being. Chapter 15. The infinite echo of Dignasuli's life didn't end on the park bench. Legacy became eternal. The Clara Foundation Invisible Voices grew exponentially, transforming into a global organization with impact on every continent. Swaley's vision of a world where talent flourishes regardless of circumstances took root in countless lives. Joe, the artist, and Lionel, the community leader, joined other talents revealed by the foundation, creating a global network of artists, activists, and innovators who used art, technology, and voice to denounce injustices and promote inclusion. Ricardo Lacerda, even after his passing, left a legacy of humility and service, and the foundation kept alive the memory of his transformation, a testament that redemption is possible for all. His story, alongside Swaley's, became a case study in business schools and in seminars on ethics and leadership, inspiring a new generation of leaders who value human beings above profit. The final scene of the script is a sunrise over a large city. It is not the same cold and indifferent city from the beginning. Now, instead of luxury cars and arrogant corporate buildings, one sees the construction of new community centers, the revitalization of forgotten neighborhoods, and young people of all ethnicities walking side by side to school. The sun rises, illuminating faces, and a voiceover echoes. Perhaps the voice of an older Swaley, or one of her grandchildren from the foundation. The world is an equation we are learning to solve. No longer with fear, but with honor. No longer with contempt, but with dignity. No longer in silence, but with everyone's voice. Swaley's phrase, "Talent doesn't choose a title," is no longer an accusation, but a song of hope. A constant reminder that dignity and talent reside on every corner, waiting only for a glance, a chance, a voice to recognize them. Swaley's story is an infinite legacy, a testament to the transformative power of a simple act of recognition. We've reached the end of this emotional journey of justice and empowerment. If Swaley's story has moved you, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of our inspiring stories of triumph and the power of purpose. Hit the like button if you believe that talent doesn't choose race or social status, and that justice always prevails. Share this video to spread this powerful message of inclusion, diversity, and the fight for a more just world. Comment below. What's the biggest lesson Swaley's story brought to your life? Do you believe the world is learning to see the Claras and Swaleys around it?